RC family, welcome back. Welcome back to another episode of the RC Lounge podcast with your host, EKJ24000. RC family, we got an awesome show tonight, and we got some champs in the building. We got some champs in the building. Oh man. But yeah, man, we got the VanDalens in the house, in the lounge tonight, just kicking back. Like I said, we just gonna have a nice conversation like we're in the pits. Sit back and enjoy get you a good old cold beverage, whatever you like to drink. Get you some chips, some popcorn, whatever you like to snack on and eat. We just gonna talk, man. We're gonna talk about DNC. We're gonna talk about a little tips for us upcoming inspiring drivers, sportsmen, intermediate, 40 plus, 50 plus, older heads that still driving, just anything we can do just to improve on our drive. We're gonna talk about all that. So, hey man, y'all just stay tuned. Appreciate everybody checking in. Kate, appreciate you. Thank you. Shell back, RC, appreciate you, bro. Checking in, and y'all share this out. I know a lot of y'all coming back from races, from doing racing over the weekend. But we appreciate you. Appreciate you. Yeah, y'all. Let me break in the stars of the show. Let me bring them on up on the screen. Y'all. Oh, here we go. The VanDalens. Shane, what's up?
Thanks, man.
Sean.
Holy,
Seth, what's going on? Hey, man, we appreciate y'all. We appreciate y'all, man. But yeah, man, again, y'all don't know. Again, my name is Corey Jordan. That's my official name. But they call me EKJ24000 on YouTube. And I done, man, podcast with a lot of good racers, some overseas, like Boots and who else? But a lot of guys, Tesmans, I did them, JQ, all them. So I appreciate y'all taking time out just to jump on here, man, and just talking to the family, man. And y'all seem like an awesome father and son crew, race team. So I just wanted to bring it on here, just talk about, to start off, really just talk about how y'all got started off in racing. How y'all get
I was racing at a young age, 16, 17. Really started to get competitive after high school. But then when I got married, took kind of like a little break from RC for a little while, and then once the kids started to get a little older, then kind of started bringing them to the track. So I think Seth was racing at about the 6-year-old age, indoor 10 scale stuff, oval racing, carpet racing, stuff like that. So
yeah. Awesome. But yeah, so from there, from carpet racing, oval racing, so what was the first car y'all got into? Like, what was the first race grade car, Sean, that you got?
Me?
Yeah.
For me, my first hobby grade was a Kyosho Turbo Optima 4-wheel drive, chain drive car.
Yeah.
So,
Okay.
but then from there it went to like the low C JRX2, and then probably to the associated stuff, the RC10 T3s, and then all the way up into, stayed with AE for years there on the 10 scale side. So everything from touring cars to all the way up to the B6. I think I don't have a B7, but B64 I think is the most current AE car that I have. So
okay, Seth, what was your first one? The really first one that you really got that you was like, okay, maybe I can do something with this.
First race grade car was probably the Associated B4 that I ran for quite a while. Ran it at I think you talked about doing the skating place in St. Cloud. We'd set up on the oval rink and race carpet off-road. So I had an Associated B4 and T4 for a while, and then we eventually went to Kyosho. But probably the first RC car I drove was a like a Nitro T-Max in the yard, just like
Okay.
run around hitting a ball around the yard. Kind of learn depth perception off that.
Okay.
So
Yeah, that's what's up. But yeah, man, we like all that stuff is important, man. And they're just I do it. And I ask a lot of the people I interviewed just because we all start from somewhere. And just because you passion right now, whatever, and you thinking about getting into racing, don't be ashamed of that. 'Cause we all started from basically the same thing, just having that interest and love for it from the beginning. So yeah,
Yeah.
so don't be afraid of it. We all started from somewhere, and we had to progress from that. So, but yeah. So what's your local track, Sean? What's your local track?
Our local track is in my backyard.
Okay.
FTR Raceway. So
Okay.
you can find us on Facebook. But yeah, I mean, it's a nice outdoor facility, I guess. So roughly about 185 and about 110 to 115 feet deep. So
Okay.
a little bit smaller than like DNC. DNC left to right is about that 185. So, but it is a little bit deeper, about 135 is that's right from the man, Joey Christensen, when I was there. He was telling someone else the size of it, and I overheard it. So I was like, oh, cool. It's very close to the home track. So
awesome. But yeah, so what inspired you, Sean, to build a track in the backyard?
I think I was pretty young. My dad I actually bought my property when my dad retired. I bought his house. And when I was a kid, I asked him if I could build a track in the backyard. My dad was a home remodeler, builder, built like pole buildings, stuff like that. So, so I had equipment. I had Bobcat, I had stuff like that to build a track. And like if you find a picture of the current FTR, my dad actually stopped by. This was, probably 2 years ago, and saw the outdoor track as it is now, and was like, the one thing he said to me is, I never understood when you asked if you could build a track in the backyard, this is what you really meant. So that was pretty cool. But yeah, as a kid, I just wanted to have fun with my car, that's it, and then it kind of progressed to that and started going to different racetracks throughout the state of Minnesota. And then, always kind of had a practice track in one size, form, or another on the property, but then kind of started going commercial with it, actually going to the county and getting a conditional use permit for a recreational facility. So that it's all,
oh, legit. That's it. That's it.
Yeah.
That's it. That's what's up.
Yeah.
So okay, Seth. So with Sean, through your racing, so Seth, what was the that first race that you saw your dad race, and you was like, man, like the first race that really opened your eyes, like just how fast he was, that you was really proud of him. What race was that you was like, man, Pop got something, you know what I'm saying, or inspired you to want to follow his footsteps?
Probably back when we were racing indoors, running 10 scale, like on the carpet. So the funny story of like him and his buddies, one of the, like me racing there, I ran like the intermediate class, I think. And I got second all season long in two-wheel drive buggy, stock buggy. And the final race of the season, like I couldn't win the championship. His friend Jake ran my radio from the announcer's booth, and I just had it like my dad's radio on the driver's stand as a dummy.
Yeah.
And Jake and my dad were like pretty close on speed. My dad was still faster.
Yeah.
But like smoked the guy that was beating me all season long, and like he had like a total meltdown about it. Just like couldn't figure out how from 1 week to the next I got so much faster.
Yeah.
And we ended up telling him like, hey, it wasn't him driving, it was Jake. And yeah, that was probably when I figured out like just how fast he was. And then he won I don't remember a lot of like the outdoor racing, like watching him race. I was a little kid. I was 8 or 9 years old. I was running around playing with other kids at the track. Like we were playing Xbox in the back of a trailer half the time. And then I would just I'd get like, we had walkie-talkies or I had a cell phone. I'd just get a call, you're up. I'm like, all right, run back, get my car, go race, and then go back to playing video games. So I don't remember a whole lot, but there's still flashes of speed from him. Like when we're practicing outdoor, like he'll run truck, I'll run buggy. There's still flashes of speed, but I think a few years ago, quite a few years ago now. What would you say? Probably 2015, 2016. If I had a bad day in 10 scale, he would be.
Oh, yeah. There was a few when we owned the indoor track. There was a few times running stock buggy that if him or even Kyle Holmberg, if they had an off day, I was right there to pick up the scraps left over from those two fast guys. So yeah, it was good. It was good.
Yeah. So. But yeah, I know just so Sean, when did you notice Seth speed picking up?
Seth speed? I think so the one time as I got bigger into RC, I started through my hobby store and racetrack. I started sponsoring young, fast kids. And one season, I think Seth was like 11. So, I mean, he's 24 now. So this was 13 years ago. One of the families of the kids that I sponsored let us use their motorhome, and we went and did the RC Pro Series North Division.
Okay.
So that included like Tebow's home track, kind of like down in Kansas. And the finals were in Texas at Mike in Porter, Texas. Mike's Hobby in Porter, Texas.
Right. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. It's kind of got a roof. Don't they have a roof over it? Yeah.
Yeah. Really cool facility. Seth was 11. I think we were running Kyosho at the time. And he was in, the open class, not the pro class, the open class. And he put in like a pretty fast TQ run in the open class. So fast that he would have scored third overall in the pro class. Yeah. And a lot of people were complaining, like people, I could see that. Yeah, I could see. Well, they didn't know. They honestly didn't know it was this tiny little 11-year-old kid, or 12-year-old at this time. Now I think he turned 12 by the time the finals happened. Yeah. But yeah, the announcer was going around asking for Seth, and he was actually pitting behind me. We were back to back. And he came up to me and he's like, "Are you Seth?" I'm like, "No, I'm Sean. I'm actually Seth's dad. This is Seth behind me." Right. And whatever announcer or race director was like, "Hey, you're Seth." And Seth's like, "Yeah." He's like, you ran that buggy last round." And Seth being, I don't know, very unaware of how fast he really was, is like, "Yeah, I had a few mistakes. I could go a little bit quicker." I mean, the kid scored a 3 in the pro class. He totally TQ'd the open class. So that's when, I mean, people really took notice. VP sponsored us from that day. I think Tommy Porfirio was working for VP, and he was there. And he came up to us and said, "Hey, if we give you guys fuel, will you run it for us? Will you start running for VP?" And we've ran for them ever since. I mean, it's been 13 years now. So
13. That's what's up. Yeah. Stay loyal. Yeah. Like I said, man, a lot of people don't believe that, but you stay loyal to a brand, and especially if you do it from the right heart and stay loyal to them, you never know what blessing, what opportunity may come from that later on down the line. So most definitely. That's
Techno's been 10 years now. So, I mean, I did like a 6-year stint with Kyosho, and then we did a 2-year stint with Hot Bodies after the Ty Tessman clinic. We did the Ty Tessman clinic. So that was good. That was a good learning experience. So,
yes, I started off, my first legit sponsor as far as like chassis and stuff like that was with Hot Bodies. So, Mm-hmm. But yeah, so with all this competition, everybody's fast now in the families.
Uh, yeah. I mean, everybody.
So when was the point where Seth said, "Okay, not too fast, pops. You know, hey, I got this. I'm the man. I'm the man." So when was that first race
Right.
that he legit he legit beat you, and you couldn't say nothing about it?
I could, man. Well, here was the thing. Like way back when we were running, and we were running 4A scales, and I was maintaining 4A scales because obviously he's a young kid,
Yeah.
you know. And it got to the point where I was like maybe third, you know, top three in the class, and he was top 5. And it's like, man, you know, it's time for me to hang up my gear and just focus on his. And that's when he really took a really fast leap when I stopped trying to maintenance and keep up with 4 vehicles and just keep up with his 2 or 3. Yeah. I think we started running 3. He started running 3 at that point, you know?
Yeah.
So, but yeah, that was around that 13 years old, you know, 13, 14. So I just kind of put my RC racing on the back burner and really just crew chiefed for him for quite a few years. So
I got you. But yeah, like I said, that's a good thing, man. Like I said, a lot of the most successful guys in RC has that father and son team dynamic. So, hey, you can't go. You know what I'm saying? It can't. That's a awesome thing. Awesome
yeah,
thing.
I mean,
awesome thing to have that support. You know, when, especially Seth Young, 13, learning his way, learning how to wrench on the cars, learning all that, and had that toolage right there beside you. I know y'all beef back and forth sometime. I know how father and son how that clash.
I was just gonna say with any of it, there was a lot of learning that went on. You know, yeah, I bet. I mean, I had a lot of good friends too. Kevin Yeager. I mean, John Huntner. I mean, like all these guys. You know, I mean, there's countless guys throughout the years that have really stepped in and like helped mentor Seth, or because there's a lot of the mental side of the stuff that he, maybe didn't want to hear it coming from me, but could hear it coming from someone else. So, yeah. Alex Kennison there. I mean, dude, he was a shock guy that really helped us with understanding shock, piston packages, stuff like that. He did a lot of off-road. He was an off-road, like 4-wheeler, motorcycle mechanic. So yeah, learned a lot of like piston area packages and like different, what you want to use in rougher tracks or smoother tracks or bigger flat landing, stuff like that. So that really helped.
That really helps.
Well, there's been a lot of people, that have surrounded him throughout his upstart, into the pro class that really helped him. So
that's what's up. Yeah, it takes the whole RC family, man, to learn.
Yeah, exactly.
Pistons, and then after that, setups. Like I got a question in here, like right now, when we get on down and more farther in the interview, just about like how to learn when it's time to come out their comfort zone of having just a safe, easy to drive car and trying to make that car more faster. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. And that's gonna push your limits too. So, but it takes everybody and learn from everybody to really get good and have a good understanding how to set these cars up and how to drive. So it takes everybody to have that support. So Seth, what's the one thing Pops told you that always resonates in your head when you especially going to these, even at the small races and the big races? What's the one thing that really he told you that really just sticks out in your mind when you go to these races and getting set up and stuff?
Honestly, recently it's just been like stick to your own program. There's like Techno has such a large team. Obviously, like we all work together. We all want to be at the top together.
Right.
But when it comes down to like, you can't get emotionally you can't get emotionally attached to a car, because like if something's going really wrong, you need to be able to change it. But also like you can't like listen to these other guys, like your teammates that are having like a super rough time, and like you have to try and help them, but you can't get it in your head that like maybe your car's doing like something
Same
wrong.
thing.
So
Yeah.
there's kind of a balance, and it took me quite a few years to learn that, and it's been probably the last like 3-4 years I've really gotten to the point where I'm just gonna do my own thing. Like if this guy's complaining about his car doing something like this or this, and they want to like completely wholesale their car, like fine. But like if my car's not doing like something absolutely terrible, I'm just gonna try and make small tweaks, like get it to the point where like I can, if it's just doing one thing bad, you can manage that. Like you can go out and drive around that. So I think that's been the biggest thing for me, like within the last couple of years, is just like, just stick to your own program. Like DNC and Silver State, like there's a bunch of talk about tires, like going to the dirt bike or going to the Falcon, running reflex, like just chasing like directional tires. And both DNC, I did run a directional tire once. I ran a Falcon like the first run of e-buggy when the track was brand new. Otherwise, I just put reflexes on all cars at both events, and that's what I ran the entire time.
That's right.
And because it's like we've sat and chased this stuff around. Like I just wanted to put reflex on, drive the car, get it set up around that, and come main time, like Mayfield ended up back on reflex and truck. He ran dirt bike or Falcon all through qualifying, was super fast, beat me in every qualifier, and then like went back to reflexes for the main, because that's just, the track gets gnarly, it's easier to drive tire. Like I just chose to do it in qualifying because I was like, if I'm a second off the pace in 5 minutes, like I might not TQ, but at least I know like how the truck drives, and I'm just used to it throughout the week. Right.
You competitive. You right there in the mix still. Yeah. Just from that, man, Sean, what's some things that through Seth's success, what's some things you learned from him as y'all, work together as a team? What's some things you learned from him? Because it goes both ways. You know what I'm saying? It goes both ways. Yeah.
I always, and he kind of hinted about it, like, and I'll kind of go over that too, like being emotionally attached to the way your car drives. That's me. I'm emotionally attached to, I don't want to make a change. I just need to drive a little bit better. Now, honestly, sometimes you need to make a small change so that you can drive it better. Okay. But if you're attached to the way that car drives and you're afraid to make that setup change, you're never going to move forward. So for years, while I kind of put my racing gear down and then came back to it, those years that I came back, I was always like, no, I just need to drive better. And yes, that does come into play sometimes. But sometimes, Seth, we were at Omaha and I was coming out of this sweeper onto the front straightaway, and the back end of the car, or my truck, because I drive trucks, just wasn't staying predictable. Sometimes it would step out, sometimes it was fine. And of course you kind of hesitate to carry pace through there because you're concerned about the, car stepping out. So, I'm driving the car, he's watching it. So now, I used to be the guy that watched his car and made changes, even like without him even giving input when he was younger, 12, 13 years old. But now he just tells me this is what I would do. And I just do it. And I go faster. So it came to a point where, I helped him along, and I told him why I was making the changes in his race cars so that he could graduate to making his own thinking, of what he wanted. And now it's to the point where he can see the car where I'm driving it. I'm not really watching my car. I'm driving it. I'm reacting to it.
Yeah.
So now he tells me, and, confidently I make those changes and I go faster, so, that's, so like when I go to these races and I see somebody come up and they ask Seth, for setup advice, and he asks them what they're running or what, okay, well, I would change this. And then you watch that person, not going to name names, but sometimes they go back and sometimes they change it. A lot of times they don't. And it's like, okay, why'd you ask? Because like really honestly, when he tells me to do it now, I just do it. I just do it, dude. And I'm old. I'm 52 years old. My reactions are not as fast as a pro. And everybody says, oh, I can't drive a pro setup. I don't know. I'm 52 and I can drive it. So the kid knows what he's doing. So yeah, now it kind of roles kind of flip there. So yeah, if you're a driver who gets emotionally attached to the way your car drives and you're afraid to make a change while the track is changing, you're not going to go faster. You're going to have a more difficult, unsatisfied time at the racetrack.
Yeah.
You have to be, I said it a lot at DNC when guys were coming up to us and the track was getting rougher and all this, like, how are these guys going faster? I said, you know what? I know you're uncomfortable. You're driving a pace that's uncomfortable, but you have to be comfortable with being uncomfortable.
I got you. Yeah.
Yep.
Man, it goes a long ways. Right.
Yeah.
At that pace. Yeah. Because it goes a long ways, man. And not just that, just sometime in life, it's the same thing. You got to be uncomfortable, get used to being uncomfortable, you know? So, but and man, like I said, just from that, we can go into some of these. Like I said, I just wanted to give a few race tips, man, just for like the sportsman drivers and the intermediate drivers. Just because a lot of us, we have full-time jobs and stuff like that. So, how do y'all, with y'all having a full-time job, how do y'all just prioritize the, saying your practice timing? How many times a week y'all get out there and practice and stuff like that and run?
So for me right now, with like, I've kind of like taken a step back. So I'm not working completely full time anymore. I come out and help when it's like, I go out and help when it's needed, like go on installs and stuff off site. But like right now, like I'm really not able to practice. Like I got last week, like Wednesday, I probably put down 5 or 6 runs. Yeah. And like every time I came off the track, the car was muddy. So it's like, I don't really want to sit and get my stuff like all muddy, clean in between runs. And then like, especially with going to races and stuff. And so I just basically, I went out there just to like, just kind of double check, like make sure like the setup that I had on the car, like, cause we made some changes from the last time I was able to run at home. And so like when we've gone to AMS or Silver State or TNR or DNC, so we've made some changes and I just wanted to verify everything, make sure like if I feel comfortable at home, like I should be comfortable at all these events. Cause I know what my car needs to feel like at home to be in the ballpark for all these big events.
Right.
So I just went out and verified that this week, but like it rained Thursday morning. The track's been pretty destroyed. Like it's been wet again, like too muddy to drive on. And now we have P&B coming up next week. So I'm going to turn around this week, get the cars ready. And then we'll be headed to P&B Wednesday night. So I won't be able to drive much. And on top of it, I won't even be able to drive when we get home because we're getting snow Wednesday to Saturday.
I know that's what your pop said. Because I mean,
so practicing right now for me is like very minimal. So I'm really relying off just like when I go to these big races, I don't try to put a ton of emphasis on practice. It's just like logging laps. Like if I can't do the 5-minute pace that some of these guys are doing in practice, I'm not super concerned. As long as like a single lap speed or 3 lap speed is close, like, all right, we're in the ballpark. And then when it comes time to qualify, like I know I can go out, back it off 5-10% and just go out and run 3-4 seconds slow, but it'll be a top 3, top 5 run. It'll just have whatever the TQ guy is going to be 3-4 seconds ahead of me.
Right.
So once we get like into the summer where I can run a lot more, I tend to put a lot of emphasis on just driving. Like I don't need to do a ton of setup. And I just try to focus on like working on roll speed through the corners. Like a lot of the fundamental stuff for me is like, I have a really good foundation of like, I'm still working on like discipline of like when to pull the trigger, when not. It's getting better, but like still working on it constantly. But like when I'm practicing at home, I'm trying to brake sooner and like use less brake power. So I'm slowing the car down slower. Like I'm not just like smashing the brake, trying to check the car super hard. So trying to upset the chassis less by slowing down slower, then picking the throttle up earlier in the corner. So I'm trying to set, and then also with that, you're having to set your car up where it wants to rotate on power coming out of the
Right.
corner.
Mm-hmm.
So that's what I do, like when I'm practicing at home now, is just really working on like roll speed, because it helps increase fuel mileage, your corner speed drops lap time. And then also if you can get a handle on that, like you can run super close to the pipe and at a high rate of speed, and you're very comfortable doing it. Like, for example, we were out in California at TNR, and
Right.
Daniel Lewis, the owner of Techno, came over to me, and there's like this front right sweeper that there was holes like 2 feet off the pipe. And he's like, if you just moved over like 6 inches off the pipe, because I was like, you could see it on my wheels. Like my wheels were getting messed up from the pipes. Like I was rubbing up against them through the corner. He's like, if you just moved over, you could carry way more speed. And I talked to him, I'm like, but with the holes there, like the car doesn't want to do that. My speed will actually be slower because now I'm having to drive through the holes through the corner. So like it was kind of a back and forth conversation with him and I of like what to do.
Mm-hmm.
And then we ended up getting, like, Ryan came over and we were talking about it. And like Danny got to the point where he's like, so you're just trying to avoid the holes. You're not actually like putting emphasis on being tight on the pipe. I'm like, no, I'm just trying to drive around the holes. I don't want to go outside of them. I just want to drive around, like drive inside the hole. And Ryan ended up breaking his car one run and watched me. And he's like, you're literally putting around the track, avoiding the holes, staying up against the pipes, like just making the track small because you can't go fast on it because of all the holes. And he's like, and it's working really well. So he's like, whatever you're doing, just keep doing that. And like ended up doing that all weekend, and it worked out like through qualifying into the mains.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah,
man, like I said, that was my next question, bro. Just one thing that you focused on, like doing practice. So you said just your roll speed, slowing, not jamming on the brakes, but having that little slowing down in that little free roll, but I guess coming out the throttle a little bit sooner, coming up on the turn instead of having to hit it harder, going, into corner entry and just kind of losing your momentum. So, but yeah, it made total sense. It made total sense because, like I said, I was just going to ask, what did you do? What did you do as far as like, hitting your brake points and stuff like that? And that's typically the same way, but just having a different method by just rolling into the corner instead of just stabbing your brakes. So
yeah,
but yeah,
so like with like breaking points on a track, like I don't really have. I used to when I was younger, like set braking points, like, oh, at this banner I'm gonna hit the brakes, and like I used to do that. Now it's kind of just second nature. And like you're just judging the car's speed and like what the car can do. And it's on some of these rougher tracks, like some of the areas that you're going into, maybe you moved 2 feet to the right, entering a right-hand corner. Now your speed needs to be half of what it was 2 feet out because there's a gigantic hole trying to enter that corner. So a lot of it's just like learning where everything is and like just using your best judgment.
Yeah.
But another thing that I do practice when I'm at home is trying not to move the car around as much in the air, like whipping the car. Like everyone, like I see a lot of sportsman drivers, intermediate drivers whipping the car a lot. And you see pro guys do that a lot because we're setting the car up for a corner. Like we're doing a whip with a purpose most of the time. We're not thinking about it, but we actually are. We'll set the car, we'll turn it 5-10 degrees before it lands, so it's set up for a left-hand corner or a right-hand corner. And or you're correcting the car. But like when I'm practicing at home, I try to set it up where I don't have to whip the car. I can just jump straight, land straight, and I'm trying to run a line that allows me to do that. And then when I go to these big events, I'm not relying on like having to whip the car. It's ingrained in me to like go search where you're driving on flat ground, where you're in control, and find a line that you can do every lap instead of like, oh, I'm just going to smash the center of this jump and just toss the car and then try and land it. Like,
yeah, because I know y'all. I know a lot of the pros was whipping a lot at DNC, especially going over that step up jump. Explain that jump. Why was it necessary to kind of give yourself a little whip going over that step up jump at DNC?
So with a jump like that, I don't know if we're necessarily, like, I'm not thinking about it anymore while I'm driving. Like, I don't know if we're necessarily whipping it to like set the car up, because that jump, it was kind of mid corner and it had a really long landing. So like you can land and get it turned and like do that next corner.
Right.
I think a majority of it was how hard we were hitting the face. Yeah. Your suspension compresses like up the face, and as you're turning right, you're going left, like the car is sliding to the left.
Yeah.
Well, the suspension gets to the point, or the tire gets to the point where it stops giving. And then it wants to toss you back to the right. Well, we're countering it by whipping the car to like fix the direction of the front end, so we're landing like headed the right direction is why we're doing it, is what I more think. But yeah, some of us are just throwing a whip to throw a whip, like because it looks cool. But a lot of times it's to either correct something that we know is going to happen just because of the pace we're hitting something at, or what the car's doing. And we're not thinking about it. We're just seeing it in real time in our like muscle memory. Like it's just is auto correcting it. So,
so yeah. So Sean, what you thought about that? How did you think how to setting up for that jump at DNC?
Well, yeah, I actually raced there because I thought the track looked cool. I usually don't race at some of these big events. But yeah, that was there was a pretty big hole in the middle, and sometimes it would kind of throw you different. So like reacting to that could cause a whip, or what people see. I mean, obviously there was a couple of them, like I think Troy Hansen got a good one of Seth, and I think it was one of the Fuller boys. I think it was Caden. And Caden was like almost on top of Seth, and Seth, hit the ground first and drove up back out from underneath of him. Was it any faster? No, it's the same speed. But if you hit that hole and had to correct the car, then that's what it looks like. But like when he was younger, like, man, he moved the car around a lot, like crazy amounts of whip. That was just what he did. But we always talked about, when it really comes, like outdoor, it's really not as big of a deal on a big track, but like indoor, like 100%, like you got to land at this spot and you got to be turned. Because a lot of times when they whip like that over a jump, they can turn themselves into a 180 corner. They can turn 20 degrees.
Right.
Well, now they only got to do 160 degree corner.
That's it.
They already have you beat. Like if you get on the racetrack, this guy's going straight, Seth lands going into this corner. He's already got you beat. Right. They're at the same exact point on the racetrack, but Seth has turned 20 degrees. And once we started doing like clinics, indoor clinics and stuff like that, and showing people that, it was like, oh my gosh, that's why he's, a second a lap faster than me, And then you'd show those guys, and those guys would start learning those techniques, and pretty soon Seth was only 0.3 faster a lap. So it does make a difference. There is reason for it. I like to throw some whips too because it looks cool. I like to rev the engine before it hits the ground. I like to hear the clutch, stuff like that, But I mean, is it fast? No, but I'm past that. I'm out there to have fun. So
I got you. So okay, Sean, when Seth was coming up, how we're gonna step back just a little bit. When he was coming up, how important was it to push him, but not push him too far? Like when fathers see how their sons are progressing.
Are you asking me if I was a 50 dad?
Well,
because I was the 50 dad.
Seth,
Seth, you can go faster.
Seth, you go first. Seth, you go first, and then and then Sean, you follow up after he get done. Yeah.
Well, like for a long time. It was probably back when we were on Kyosho and hot bodies. Like we'd go out and practice, and obviously he's my mechanic. I'm not just going out and running by myself like I do now. Like now I'll just go out and I'll fire the car up, throw it down, go run 5-7 minutes, and then come in and fuel it up. But when I was younger, he would watch me, and like a lot of times he would go out and like water the track while I was running, and he wouldn't water the entire track. He would water like a 3-foot groove basically where he wanted my car. And so in that form of it, he was helping me like learn line choice and like line select, or like just learning the line of how to go around a track. And like with other stuff, like whipping and stuff, he basically would either like go out, mess up a jump face and just make me hit it as hard as possible, and then just fix the car. And if the car broke, we'd go back, fix the car, come back out, do it again. And like to the point where like it became second nature. Like if I hit a hole or the car did something dumb, I could fix it. But there was for a while there when I was younger, like Kyosho and hot bodies, like he would yell up at me on the driver's stand, like while I'm racing about something dumb that I did. And it was very like, we joke about it now, it's very 50 dad-esque. Like, you go faster, I'm paying for everything, go faster. But now it's like, I just tell him, like, just don't say anything. If I do something stupid, believe me, I know I did something stupid because I'm fully aware of what I'm doing.
Right.
And so like now he's just quiet and watches. And like, but yeah, back when I was younger, it was definitely 50 dad-esque, but I think it helped me get to the speed that I'm at because we went out and did these drills of like learning line choice. Like he would paint the line on the ground and just told me to stay in that, and it helped me like figure out how to connect corners on a track together. And then also like we did a lot of on-road stuff when I was young. So like doing touring car, and I did like BRC when it came out, and that also helped me learn how to like make a track flow, like connect a track, like open this corner up so the next corner is not so tight, or tighten this corner up so the next one's not so tight, and like vice versa. So there's a lot of stuff we did when I was younger that like really helped. And like you see it if you've ever seen like any moto, like any like the Moto Academy stuff, like them talking about technique and stuff like that. It's very similar. Like what we were doing is very similar to kind of what those guys teach. But I mean, obviously that's Moto versus RC, but the same fundamentals of like learning technique and discipline, and like where to accelerate, where to brake, and just the line choice that you want to take so that you have like you're taking care of the car and having the best consistency across the run.
Right. Makes sense. It makes sense. Okay. Sean, what you got?
Yeah, I mean, he would pretty much, when he was younger, get off the school bus, and while it was light out, I'm like, you can do homework when it's dark. While it's light out, I'd take him out, and we do, sometimes I would just stopwatch sections of the racetrack. So I'd take like a 3 or 4 foot board, 2 foot by 4 foot board, and lean it up against the tubing so he could just cut the racetrack. Didn't have to do the whole racetrack. And make him do like a 6-pack of whoops. All right, I want you to do the whoops. I want you to enter this way. I want you to enter wider, carry more speed, and triple this. But then after it was a tight 180. I'm like, but you need to make that 180, and the time stops when you get to the next corner. So we would really learn that, although he went into that corner and he turned to 180 and he tripled, he couldn't shut the car down fast enough to make the corner after it. So if you went through that corner more controlled and you just doubled through there, and you could turn down around the pipe, number one, it was less risk. Number two, it was easier to do every time. And the thing that the stopwatch told us, or what we learned, is that it was faster on top of it. So you see these pros, and you see like these crazy lines that, even at DNC, they had that double coming at you after that step up, that you were talking about.
Mm-hmm.
And every now and then you'd see a guy with an e-buggy triple into that section, triple single. Well, that's fine.
Right.
You can do it. You could even do it with a nitro car. But what you couldn't do is do it every single time.
Right.
So that's where it came into like us, this was I don't do this stuff with Seth anymore. Like he does his own thing now.
Mm-hmm.
But, you're asking about what I did back then. I would take him, fresh off the school bus and we would do, 40 minutes to an hour of different things. I would prep the car at my lunch break. I own a countertop business. So I'd prep the car and get it ready. And then we would do these things, and then, he would do his homework after we were done, when it was dark. But yeah, I mean, it just came into like doing different things. And even, like you're saying, whipping and like, okay, I want you to whip the car so that you're turning down into this left-hand turn after the triple so that you can land on power going the correct direction. If it was like a 10-degree angle after the landing of the triple, and then stopwatch it and prove it to him, be like, hey, you're 7/10 quicker just in that one section on this lap by doing that, and that's what taught him, some of the things that, he often goes to these tracks, TNR, whatever, and often top seeds, sometimes top qualifies. He's the fastest to learn a new layout. I would love to go to a race. If there's promoters out there that want to listen, I would love to go to a race where all the Joes get to practice and the pros throw down in the first qualifier. They get to watch all the Joes and then they get to make their changes to their car off of what the Joes. So then you'd get these pro guys helping all the Joes throughout practice day.
Right.
To get their car better and to learn what tires they liked and to learn what the tires look like on their car driving around. And then they just throw down
and just
in
go.
the first
Pros
qualifier.
go.
Yeah, dude. I would love to see that because you'd get more interaction between the pros and the Joes for sure. Them helping on practice day. Not that they don't. It's just that they can't. They don't have time. They're working on their own gear to get their own gear better. So
yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, that'd be awesome. We definitely need that, man. Cause just us, intermediate drivers, sportsman drivers trying to learn. A lot of times we really don't be that far off where we should have a car, but we just need that little extra. Okay, you might just need to calm down or don't be scared going into this corner a little bit faster. Just that little coaching up. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And it makes a difference, man. Because
a lot of it, a lot of it too is just weighing out the options of high risk versus high reward, that type of thing. And it could even come down to corner marshals. Hey, if you personally know that corner marshal is not fast, I probably wouldn't go faster in that corner. I'd probably take that corner the safest way I can so that you don't have that issue in that corner. So, but
makes sense.
Yeah.
But like I said, this next question is, like I said, we touched on it a little bit earlier. Goes back to why should we focus on making a car easier for your own personal driving style instead of just run. Yes, we do need setup sheets and stuff like that, but we shouldn't exactly rely on the setup sheets like verbatim, step by step, each setup by setup, because we all feel different stuff and we drive different.
Yeah.
How important is that? Go.
It 100%. Like, I'm going to hit on this really quick because
real quick, yeah.
For a season, I had my youngest son Zachary and a good friend of his, Caden Hins, running my race truck and my practice truck. Now, they were both nitros, both set up exactly the same clutch, both set up the exact same shocks, the exact same springs, suspension pills, droop, ride height, everything. Both trucks drove different. So when you say, oh, I'm going to copy Seth's setup. Well, yeah, but you don't have Seth's drive line. You don't have the exact wear on your drive line that Seth does. So like you have to understand that driveline has a lot to do with the way a car makes grip. You know, how worn in it is, or if it's too worn out. You could try their setup, and if your driveline is too worn out, it's not going to work. You know, your pistons could be, you know, the shock bodies on your car could be worn out so that the piston doesn't have the tolerance on the inside of the piston. So that has nothing to do with the way Seth's shock package is going to land on your car, because the oil's just going right by the piston because your shock bodies are worn out. I mean, all of this stuff comes into play.
I'm going to interrupt you right quick. But see, that's a lot of stuff that, I don't know. Like, I didn't know that. I didn't know your shock bodies can actually wear out, you know.
Yeah. The internal, the piston diameter can change if you get dirt inside there. And then you have more flow of the oil around the outside of the piston. So then your pack isn't working the same. Your car's just not going to work the same. I mean, I didn't realize it, like how easy it was, because I personally equipped 2 identical trucks for 2 different drivers. And then they would complain about 2 different things that each truck did. I'm like, well, switch trucks. Oh yeah. Zachary's truck's got way more rear grip than Caden's truck. I'm like, they're the same truck. So then I would drive them. I'm like, holy crap. They're telling me that, yes, it's exactly what's going on. Yeah. So then you have to tune your own setup to around what that car is doing. So then we would tune each individual truck, little tweaks, and then both the drivers could drive them. So you can't necessarily take someone's setup. It is a good base thing to start off with. But if it's not doing something that you don't like, if it's doing something you don't like, then you need to know what to change often to that truck to make it suit for you.
Oh, gotcha.
That's what I'm trying to explain, you know? So, and like Seth, even like after his DNC interview, he's like, oh yeah. I mean, dude, you got to be on it. I mean, I'm watching him throughout seeding, throughout qualifying, and even on the track for aiming warm up. I'm like, dude, he's just slaughtering the track. I'm like, oh my God, this is going to be awesome. And then come prep for the main, I see him over there just destroying his race car, like changing stuff. And I'm like, what are you doing, dude? Like, are you sure you want to do this? Like, you got a race car, dude, you know. But he knew what the track, you know, how the track was maturing in and what he wanted from his car. And I don't want to steal that confidence away from him. So I'm like, dude, I will support whatever you want to do. Yep. You know, and he's like, well, this is the same changes that I made at TNR, and it worked really good at TNR with, you know, the fast bumps and sweeping bumps. And I'm like, okay. So you really have to tune, like, you can use someone's setup, but you have to tune it for yourself. You really do.
I got you. Seth, how you feel about that?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with what he said. I mean, I've built 2 identical nitro buggies. Like, I've even ran the same shocks on them, like swap shocks back and forth. I have a practice car and a race car, and they drive slightly different. Like, I built everything the same, like measuring everything with a caliper, set everything the same, and they drive slightly different. Like, even with the same shocks on, there's something about them. Like, even if they had the same amount of time, like, ran in, every car drives a little bit different.
Yeah.
And for an example, so I won DNC in 2025.
Right.
I ran that truggy for like almost a year probably. And I was super happy with it everywhere. Like, it was super good. Like, never really had an issue with it. It did its job at every race. Like, it was just a constant. Like, the buggies, I would have to sit and mess with setup, and I could just go and throw my truck down in qualifying and be like, yeah, it's going to work. Like, no problem.
Yeah.
Well, I shelved that truck. So it's sitting on the shelf in the garage. And I built a new truck, went to the next event, whatever that ended up being, like Lone Star or AMS, whatever it ended up being, or Nationals or something. And I fought that truck for 7 months.
Yeah.
Like, I was fast at PNB, but just didn't feel right. Like, something was missing. Lone Star was fast, but just felt like something was missing. Same with the Nationals. Like, just like, it wasn't the same truck. Even though I built like I drilled the shock pistons out the same. I put the same diff package back in. Like everything was built the same. It wasn't like I didn't put something on this new truck that I had on the old truck. It was the same, and it just drove different. And now fast forward, like AMS still struggling. Silver State this year kind of had it figured out. TNR, it was pretty good. Like TNR is kind of where it turned around. I put new driveline in for TNR and went out and ran it. And like I ran brand new driveline in my 2 nitro cars all weekend there. Like I put them in before going, got 2 practice runs, and then just went into qualifying with them. And the truck finally got good at the end of TNR, and now we went out one DNC. I feel like the truck's really good. Like I didn't have to make any setup changes to it all weekend. I just went up and down in oil and then went to whatever diff package I needed for the grip level and didn't make any other changes to it. So now like I got like my teammates asked me like, are you going to build 2 new cars for like P&B? And I was like, no. I was like, the buggy can get shelved, but the truck it's staying as my race truck because I'm not going through this again.
I got you. Yeah.
So the buggy, I'm going to have to go through. Hopefully I won't go through that struggle. But the buggy, I built a new car. I've already ran it in a little bit, ran it at one race. So it's really good so far. I'm happy with it, and we're going to go to P&B with it, and it should be good.
Should be good. Awesome. Yeah.
But yeah, it's definitely one of those things with like setups. Like Mayfield's tried to put my setup on his car, and I've tried putting his setup on my car at races, and it's either like I'm missing something that he did during his build, or he's missing something that I did during my build, or they just don't work for each other. Like the setups just don't work for us. Like, so Jared and Ryan, like for example, Jared and Ryan on the team that like on Techno, they run very similar stuff. Okay. I'm kind of off in left field, like doing my own thing, like running my own setup. Everyone's more similar to Jared and Ryan. Like their stuff, like it works for them and it works for a majority of other people. And I'm not saying my stuff doesn't work for a majority, or some of the people that would run techno. It's just, it's definitely a different style of driver that it works for. Because like, if I had Jared and Ryan drive my stuff, like Jared asked to drive my car after the main was over, and I was like, you don't want to. You don't want to drive my car. It's not good. Well, it's it's not that great. But
yeah, I mean, it's good for you though. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. That's all that matters. And I just want that to be clear to, like I said, us coming up drivers, how we just have to, it basically goes back to getting outside, and you got to start testing some stuff and see what you like and what you don't like. And then, developing from there. And the other thing else I want to, one more question about just setup and little racing tips is, when is it time to like expand your setup? Like I said earlier, when it's time to get out that comfort zone and maybe make your car a little faster, or make it like rotate a little bit more than it usually would. When it's time to, progress in your setup, is it just on you, or just depend on the race conditions, or is it just depend on being able to stay up with your competition, or how would you do that? How would you progress in doing that situation?
So for me, like when I would want to progress my setup is either you've gotten faster and like you're crashing more, or you've got in like, so if you get like, Joe Bornhorst was one of the ones that talked to me about this years ago. The like a up and coming driver goes through these like highs and lows where they're super fast, but they don't really know what they're doing, so they're crashing a lot. And then you'll go whatever 2-3 months, however long it takes. At that, like you're gonna have races where like you're super fast, but you're doing terrible just because you're crashing everywhere. And then you'll get into these lows where it's like it's not necessarily low, but like you're super consistent. You're just not the fastest guy.
Right.
And whenever you get into whatever you want to do, whether it's when you're in the highs or when you're in the lows, like you need to work on the car. Like if you're super consistent all the time, maybe you do need to get a more aggressive setup, because now like you're obviously a consistent driver. You can go faster because you're not crashing. If you're not crashing, you're not trying your hardest.
Mm-hmm.
And then once you get to the point where like you're crashing a lot, if you're crashing a lot, maybe you do need to make the car easier. So then you can get back down into that consistency.
Mm-hmm.
And eventually you will find a middle ground where it's like the car is fast. It allows you to like drive to your potential, but then in return, you can back off and the car will just be consistent for a long period of time, 30, 45 minutes.
I got you.
So like with that, like I went through a few stages and like it kind of worried me last year because there's a couple races where I was super fast, but just like couldn't stay on my wheels. And it was coming to like the nationals where I got into like the low where it was like I was super consistent.
Yeah.
Wasn't maybe the fastest guy, but I would just click laps. And I was like, this is like perfect timing. And I was just hoping like, because you never know when it's going to flip. As you get faster, it flips back and forth more and more. It can be every other race. And I was just like, just please like get through the nationals as at this low where you're just like, go out and click laps. And when you are clicking laps, like you're going to go fast. You're going to like, if you're just doing the same lap after lap after lap, you're going to go fast. Like you're going to put up a lap time. You might it just won't be like 3/4 of a second off your average. It's only going to be 3/4 off your average lap. Where when you're super fast, it might be 3/4 of a second or a full second faster than your average.
Right.
Just because like you're crashing so much or making stupid little mistakes. So I kind of went through that last year. This year, I haven't really noticed it. Like the last 6 months of 2025 into this year, it's been a pretty constant, like since AMS, especially, it's been a pretty constant where like my speed's good. My consistency's good. There's a couple of things I still need to work on in like longer mains. For whatever reason, I like destroying myself at the start of a race. I don't know what I'm doing, but
I'm holding my tongue.
I'm not trying to, for sure. It's not the plan, but
yeah. That's what I was gonna ask too after this one. Yeah. But yeah. So yeah, Sean, what you for us older racers, Sean, like 40 plus 50. When is it, what just add on to it basically. Just
man,
back off what he said.
Yeah, like Seth, continues to teach me now, how to go faster as an old guy, typically, when I see like, man, I'm consistent, I've seen it, but I said, I'm just not clicking off laps. And I came down off of the driver's stand at one of the races. It was an e-truck race. And I was like, I won. And Seth's like, yeah. I'm like, are you serious? Like, all I did is drive around. He's like, yeah, that's all you have to do. He's like, you just didn't wreck. Everyone else was wrecking everywhere. And I'm like, but I wasn't fast. He's like, yeah, but you put down the fastest lap. And that's what he was saying about. Sometimes you just get into a rhythm and you just flow, and that lap just happens because you're flowing, So if you try and do that lap, you're trying too hard. So like as an older guy or like as an up and comer, you need to really learn that you have to be confident in yourself that you can go slow in certain areas, stay tight to the pipe because you're going slow and still have a fast lap.
Yeah.
Like I don't usually like to practice on the racetrack until I see Seth, because he teaches me like car speed on the racetrack. Like, oh, he's going really slow right there. Like he looks ridiculously slow right there.
Mm-hmm.
But then you see him on the track in traffic and he's passing everybody going that slow. And it's like, oh, okay. So I was really hitting those areas way too fast. And I was just overshooting my mark, blowing the corner, making the racetrack bigger. So but that takes confidence. And that, like, man, we could talk for hours, days, until that young driver learns the confidence to go slow, to go fast. That's the struggle. And like I coach it back here for some of the up and coming racers, I sit and coach them or whatever. And I tell them those things because they can't hear it from their dad because you don't want to listen to your dad anyway. So I'll, hey, I'll step in, I'll tell them, these things. And dude, it really does until you, and it even comes back to me as an older driver. Man, I wish I could listen to myself, because I see myself making those bad choices of, oh, I'm a little crossed up, I should just double single. Nah, I go for the triple and then wad it up on the landing on top of being, crossed up at the beginning.
Yeah.
When I could have lost 2/10 by double singling, now I lost 4 or 5 seconds from having to be marshaled. Those are the things that, if I was confident enough before the jump, I would have laid it up, knowing that, hey, I can go slow here. It's only 2/10. I'm going to go fast in the long run.
Yeah.
It's easy to coach. It really is. It's another thing to actually do it.
Yeah.
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 So that would be my sentiment to those guys is, be confident, learn it on practice days, be confident that you don't always have to go fast to be fast.
I got you. Okay. So yeah, let's get into DNC. Y'all won. Just talk about the preparation when you won Truggy in 2025. Then we'll go on to 2026. Was it any kind of special preparations as far as like practice or any goals y'all had written down that you want to like go by step and accomplish? Or how was the preparation going just 2025? What was the mindset going into that?
So going into the 2025 main event, like it was more of a redemption from it. Like I just wanted redemption from the year before. Like I qualified second or third, whatever it was, and I ended up breaking like 10 minutes into the main. So one of my goals last year was like not like necessarily finish all races that you participated in, but like finish as many races as possible. So do whatever it is in your power to make sure the car is not going to break or have a failure, and like finish as many races as possible. And quite honestly, like I think I broke out of like 2 or 3 races, and I was pretty frustrated with that. Like 2 races out of like 2, or it was like only, I think I broke out of Nitro Truck twice and Nitro Buggy once. So 3 races out of like 12. So 12 events, 36 races, like 36 main events throughout the year. I broke out of 3 out of 36. Like that's pretty good. Yeah. But I still want it to be better. So like for DNC that year, it was basically like just go out and finish. And I knew if I finished like the Techno Truck is if not the best truck on the market. One of the best, if not the best on the market. So like it's, as long as you drive it where like you're going to go out and finish and you just drive it the way it's supposed to be driven, like it's going to bring you to the front. So I definitely wasn't planning, like thinking, oh, I'm going to go out and win this. I started 8th on the grid. I had a terrible start, got into it with another car, ended up going all the way to the back, fought my way back forward, and ended up taking the win. But it was more like going into that race, it was just like, go out and finish. You didn't finish this race last year. Like you made the main truck, but you didn't finish. Just go out and finish. And it ended up becoming a win. And kind of my goal the last couple of years has been first and foremost finish races, and then So like, secondly, go out and put your best foot forward. Even though like your car may not be the best car on track, drive to the best of your ability. Even if you're completely drained after a main event's over, go out and do that. Like, there's going to be situations like later in my career where it's like, yeah, you didn't have the best car, but you went out and won because you put yourself through these situations when you were a 5 to 10 guy and you went out and just pushed yourself.
Yeah.
And instead of like, oh, my car's terrible, I'm just going to go out and circulate the track, like not care about finishing position. I'm just going to go circulate the track or break the car on purpose or something stupid.
Yeah.
Yeah. And that goes back to your buggy race. Same mindset. Because in your nitro buggy this year, 2026, you have fell back down to at one point 12th in nitro buggy. But then, like you said, you put yourself through them. Like we go back to saying, get yourself in a position where you can get used to being comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And that was one of the situations right then, but put your head down and see what happened.
Yeah, that was definitely one of the most frustrating like starts to a main event for like me personally. I think I handled it really well, but like I was pretty frustrated because we were joking. I don't know who it was, but like as teammates, I think it was me and Jared, and we're like, Ryan had to bump from the B, and we're like, this doesn't happen very often. Like he's just having like a little bit of an off weekend. He's not comfortable with the car or something. But I was like talking to Jared. I'm like, this dude's either going to be like third on lap 2 or just like can't drive the car. And sure enough, like lap 3 or 4, this dude is 4th. I started 4th and he's trying to pass me. And I'm like, what is going on? And he passed me. I ended up flying off the track or whatever happened, got into another car. Something stupid because it's chaos like that in a pro event. Like, yes, we're all pros. We know how to control the car. But for whatever reason, like 1 through 3 get away clean. That 4 through 10 range is hell. Like no one cares. We're just going for it. We can win the race on first lap. Like it happens at every event. Right. Where that 4 through 10 ranges, you don't want to start there. You either want to start at the back or you want to start at the very front. The very front guys are going to sprint, get away. The back guys are just going to sit back and putt around and get through all the chaos. So, yeah, that race was definitely like getting sent to the back it was unfortunate. And I was like, all right, just try and be clean. And we were going 9-minute fuel strategy in that race. And there's not a lot of people that can do it.
So yeah. So Sean, what was you saying? I didn't mean to cut you off, Seth.
No, you're good.
No.
What was you saying on the headset at that time?
We don't use headsets. Absolutely. That kid does not want to hear me.
He like that early. Let me get pops out my head.
I only get to talk when he needs fuel. That's it. I only get to talk when he needs fuel, and it's just a yell.
So what would you think?
I sat and calculated that buggy race, and was talking to him about his average lap and this and that, to figure it out. And 13 laps was like 8:55. I figured, 13 laps, that's 9 minutes. It's 8:55. Is he going to have one wreck in there? So then he'll be at 9 minutes. So the first fuel stop at 13 laps was that 8:55.
Okay.
However, usually you get slower throughout the event. So I'm like, I'm just going to continue to pit at 13 laps. He didn't get slower. He went faster. So like that, if you rewatch that video and listen to Scotty and you listen to Tyler Hooks, man, it really makes me feel like I wasn't doing my job. But
I looked at it last night. Yeah.
I pitted him at 13 laps. If you go back 13 laps every time. And he would have had to run 14 laps at the end of the race, or in this case, he went faster. He had to run 15 laps. Well, we had 25 cc's left over every time we fueled at 8:55, which is about 3 laps. So 40 seconds a lap, we had another 2 minutes in the tank.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I knew he was fine. But I did give him the option. I did yell up, hey, do you want to do a stopping? Do you want to do a splash?
Mm-hmm.
And he's like, do I have enough? I'm like, yes, you have enough. And then he shook it off. He's like, no, I'm not doing a splash.
Mm-hmm.
So there was some chaos in the pits there, us screaming back and forth because we do not use headsets. But I was confident and he trusted me and he was able to drive that one all the way out. So, but I mean, Canas was, he ran out on the last lap and he was going 7.5 minute stops.
Yeah.
So
he did. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Yeah. I think he got carried across the loop because if you look, it's like a 46:15 or something like that. It's crazy. Yeah.
So yeah, man. So like I said, I just wanted to bring that up because it was in that, being under that pressure and then had to deal with adversity like that. And when you persevere like you did and come out with the win, you can't ask for much more, much more than that. That's just awesome when you don't give up and just keep pushing, So yeah, that was a great finish. I mean, okay, let's go back to the truck 2026. Okay. Was anything particular that y'all want to focus on in qualifying, going and heading up to the mains? Was anything that if something was clicking, okay, we just gonna stick with this setup or whatever? Was anything that y'all had written out that you want to stick with, or you just pretty much just continue to put down laps?
The main focus, I think everyone's main focus through qualifying is just put yourself in a good position, like starting up front. Because if you start up front, it makes your life a lot easier. You don't have to go through a bunch of back markers. But I still decided to go through them. But my main focus for qualifying was start up front because it just makes your life so much easier. Like, you're not really worried about the guys ahead of you making mistakes because they were the best through qualifying. So you can really just focus on making sure your line is good. You shouldn't really have to worry about the guys behind you because, I mean, they were right there battling with you. So, and everyone up front we don't want to get into each other because that's like, if we get into each other, two of us get tangled, like we can go from second, third, all the way back to 15th, 14th, 15th. Like that's not going to be fun for either of us. Right. So yeah, main focus, like, for truck was like not start 8th like I did last year. Ended up starting 2nd, and like same with buggy. E-truck, I came from the B the year before, started 2nd this year, stayed up front, ended up 3rd. E-buggy this year was a little unfortunate, just wasn't really gelling with something. Just I wasn't driving awesome. Nothing with the car. Like I really didn't change the car even going to the main. I wasn't gelling with e-buggy. I wasn't driving very good. It just happens sometimes. And we ended up working through it, bumped out of the B, moved up to 7th from 15th. But yeah, mostly for this year is like, obviously we have the finishes. Like I've been getting 3rd or 4th in nitro buggy pretty much every race. The main goal for this year is not sending it in qualifying where you're trying to go out and start on pole. Starting on pole is awesome, but like it's not all that it's cracked up to be. It's a lot of pressure. Like you're the lead guy towing everyone around. It's not fun, but for me personally. And I don't think really I don't think it's really fun for anyone to start in front of the field of guys that we're racing against. So mainly the goal this year is just start up front. Try and start in the top 5 in every single main that I'm a part of. Put yourself in a position where if the opportunity arises, like take advantage of someone's mistake or just be there at the end. And I'm really trying to work on like obviously my starts Like I stayed up front for a few laps, but then had like mistakes. That's one thing that I'm going to try and work on now is like, obviously we kind of have the qualifying figured out. Like I'm starting up front in majority of these races. I'm just going to keep doing the same thing. But now I just, I think some of it, like what I'm doing, like getting pushed back at the start of a race is how I set my car up. So like truck, I was second, I fell to sixth. In Truggy especially, I set my car up for late in the race. Because quite honestly, in my head, I don't count anyone out. Yeah, the guy that starts dead last can still win it. Like Ryan and Joao proved that at DNC. They started 15th, 16th, 15 and 16, and they were third and fourth. Like I don't try to count anyone out, but like in Truggy especially, like if there's another techno truck on track, I'm not like just worried about beating them. I know that truck's going to be up front. So that's going to be like, I need to put myself in a position where I can stay with them because I know how good it is. And I know how good of drivers we have. And like, I'm just trying to put myself in a position now where it's like the drivers and the cars that we have, like I need to be up front because our stuff is so good now that like my teammates are some of my main competition. And I'm not counting out Canas or Fend or Boots or any of these guys. Like any of the American guys, Rivkin, Rose, like don't count. I'm not counting them out at all. It's just right now, like the techno team is so strong that like that's my main focus of like make sure I'm there with my teammates because I know how strong they are through a main event. I know how strong our car is through a main event. So, just I need to be better in the like early stages of a race to keep myself in that fight because there's going to come a time where I'm not going to get lucky where Ryan his truck breaks or I have extra speed on these guys. Like there's going to come a time where it's going to be really tight and I need to be there for the dogfight at the end. So yeah, I definitely need to work on that, but we're trying.
Yeah, man. I was going to ask about how do you, just in your mains when you just get through that traffic when you first start your mains and without getting caught up in accidents and wrecks and stuff like that. I guess that's something that everybody have to just. Is it a technique to it? Either you just have to qualify better and get out of those spots if you can. You know that from fourth to like I said on back, unless you just in 13th place and come up through the rear, but just how to navigate through the first, let's say 20 minutes, 10 minutes, you know what I'm saying, till everybody really can get their position, then you can push or whatever. So I guess that's just come with time.
Yeah. Some of it comes with time, being able to navigate that middle part of the pack. I forgot to touch on this. I think my real struggle in Nitro Buggy this year, at DNC, like why I went to the back, was my car was very sensitive to speed on track. The speed at which I hit stuff, and maybe not necessarily like ground speed. Like if I hit something at 15 miles an hour versus like 10 miles an hour, it was more tire speed. On the track. If I was spinning the tires a lot, the car wanted to be violent. So I think that's part of it. I need to set my car up where it's got a wider window if I can drive it. And I think that's kind of a focus for upcoming events.
I don't know if he's trying to find a certain spot.
To the 3 spot, but really unfortunate. Out front, what a break for him. Carlos was right with him here. Mayfield now OP3. Terrible luck. Pit stops, as we're talking about. And we got pit stops going on right now. Sub 5 second is crazy quick. We saw True pretty concede. That's right. I said Mayfield into B.
Putting your head down and just staying consistent,
Oh, there you're back a little bit.
and ended up
Mayfield comes by.
coming out with a big win. So
Nas pitted at 7:30, so he's going to fall to third. Mayfield up to second.
so yeah,
Dalen to fourth. Dalen has
proud of yourself and just and Sean just and just continue racing. Super proud of you. Like
So it's a little difficult
So I
to
was
hear
trying
you
to play-
if you can hear us.
Yeah, you're breaking
Yes.
up a little bit.
but it's
Mayfield across the line. He's going to be really close to 9.
it's not
coming in.
smooth as I would like. We just talk about it and come back. Okay, that seems like it's better. But yeah, y'all. So yeah, I just pulled up. This is not your buggy, man, and I was just trying to pull it up and just maybe we could talk through it, but it seemed not to be acting right. But like I said, yeah, just bro, just an awesome job, man, and just far as just talk us through the back through your truggy win this year, and just how the truck felt, going into the main, and what was your thought process of your truggy win at DNC this year.
So how the truck was. So in warm up, like going out in the warm up right before the main, I felt like the truck was good. Like we had good speed. I could navigate the track like I wanted to. It felt a little bit like slick, but also the track was wet, so I wasn't like super concerned with it. Right at the start, when the track is transitioning from being wet from the watering to like it's starting to dry out, and but the dust is still kind of thick. It feels really tacky. So kind of at the start, my truck was really good. I was able to stay with Ryan. But then once the track started to dry out and started to kind of get back to that hard pack, clean groove, I started to notice the diffs were a little too thick and the truck just wasn't like working like it should have. And so, yeah, I ended up kind of falling back, getting frustrated, had a few mistakes, just couldn't really judge where the truck was going to go. But probably I would say 15 minutes in, 20 minutes into that race, like the truck really started to work in. The diffs got worked in, lightened up just a little bit. And I was starting to be able to go forward. And there was probably a 10-minute window in that race, or like a full fuel stop, at least like a 7.5 minute window, where I sat 6.5 seconds behind Ryan and Mason and just watched them battle. Like the corner on screen. So the right hand of the screen, the right hand side of the screen, that bottom bowl turn off the front section, that's where I was, and they were hitting the step up. And that was about that 6.5 seconds.
Yeah.
It stayed there for a whole fuel stop. There was nothing I could do. I was trying different lines. I was hitting stuff faster, hitting stuff slower, and it just stayed the same for a full fuel stop. And it was very discouraging. I was like, maybe this is all I got. Like they just have a little bit more. Like I can't do anything about it. But eventually the truck worked in, and then that gap started to close really quickly. I think it got to the point where like they started pushing, and then their trucks kind of got hard to drive, and it kind of fell into my like the way I set my truck up with a little bit thicker diffs, kind of set up for the end of the race, where now my truck is working properly and is only going to get hard to drive maybe the last 5 minutes instead of the last 25 minutes. So but yeah, truck, like it was kind of discouraging in that middle part, but trusting like what we've done in the past, like making sure the diffs are thick enough to go the distance and let it work in, not make any stupid mistakes, get yourself like end up super far back or having a issue with fuel or something. So
Mhm.
and maybe Bruce went around him.
I mean, we don't often like
So,
talk about it in the
yeah,
pits together,
that's awesome, bro. Like I said,
but
and then okay, coming from knowing you.
For Seth VanDalen. Good stop there for Dakota Fence.
what's that?
He went 930.
Go ahead, Sean.
Oh, we don't like Seth and I don't often talk about it, but like I know as like his crew chief or pit guy that if he can stay with him like on these long 45-minute races, if he's there at the halfway point, and I know the way he sets up his cars and I know the way he drives at the end, how he finishes races, I know we have a shot. If we're, top 3 and we're within, 6, 8, 10 seconds, at that halfway point of a 45-minute run, we're in the mix. We can, we can be there or compete.
Right.
So, I was, like even like I noticed like, man, he talks about it like he ran a whole fuel stop and didn't gain anything. Believe me, I'm down there. I notice it, So I'm like, okay, when do I pit him? It's got to be a clean. It's got to be a fast pit. This year I ended up pitting him too fast at Silver State in truck, and I knew I pitted him too fast. I knew I didn't get the tank full, but I tried to pull him in a lap early, and he was about 75 feet from making it in and flamed out, ran out of fuel. So I ran him out of fuel, kind of did one of those DNFs that he talks about, the 3 out of the 36. You win and lose as a team. That was mine. Nothing to do with him. He trusted me, and it just ended up biting him there. But like at DNC, I mean, we, didn't go the long stop in the truck. We went 7.5. So we had an option of going an extra lap so I could bring him in when, either a lap early when pits were clean or a lap later when pits were clean. So, I mean, I called him in once in truck and he didn't come in because he saw other people dive off into pits. So he just went one more lap. So pit was clean. So, I mean, he does, make audibles, or whatever changes on the fly, and as long as he knows he has enough fuel and he can trust me that, I'm bringing him in when he needs to be. So.
Shoot, that is, like I say, man, it's just, amazing just how, how critical like our pit stops and all that makes a, run time makes a big difference in our finishing positions and how all that factors into a big win like this. Okay, just like I say, just going off of that momentum from Truggy, winning Truggy, and then going into Nitro Buggy. What was the thought process of how we gonna, get this main done and how we gonna stay competitive in Nitro Truggy? I mean, in Nitro Buggy.
The thought process from Nitro Truck to Buggy. A lot of it was like, if I went out and did the same thing, like was able to stay up front and kind of wait until the end of the race. I think like I knew I had a good shot at finishing up front. Like I finished up front at races like this. Like I podiumed at Silver State a couple months before. So like I'm decent at rough track. Like I'm pretty good at rough track stuff. So I just felt like if I was able to stay up front, I could have a really good finish. For car setup wise, going into that main event, I kind of went and took a look back at e-buggy the night before, and I didn't really make any changes from the B of e-buggy to the main. I just went up in shock oil because the temperature was supposed to be the same. But I ended up going the wrong direction. The temp was the same, but the sun was starting to go down, so maybe the shock just wasn't building as much heat from not having direct sunlight. So knowing that, I knew I needed to be down at my nighttime shocks for Nitro Buggy. And then I knew I needed another change on top of that to have the pace to be there with the front guys. So we ended up before the main event, we added a millimeter of bump steer to the front of the car. Make it easier to drive, hitting bumps, like just make the front end just kind of more pillowy and like just not so nervous feeling. And then we also went to a higher rear hub height. Something we did at TNR. It helped a ton on corner exit rotation. Just the car just was a more fluid motion. And then also like hitting side load bumps where you're turning and the tires kind of just the sidewall of the tires smashing into a hole. A higher rear hub on the Techno car really like helps it track. So we kind of knew that from TNR. We ended up putting that on for Nitro Buggy. We knew it was going to be pick up some pace, give some drivability. It does have a couple of negatives, like it does have slightly less rear grip, but the positives of that change, like we knew, okay, the car might be a little, but we can figure it out. Like I can drive around that. But if the car is just exploding in a hole, no matter what you do, you can't really do anything about that other than completely change a line. But honestly, there's some sections of the track where you couldn't change the line. Like you're going to hit a hole no matter what. So we kind of just went in with that mindset of like, we need to make a change that's going to allow us just to, if there's a section of the track where you can't get away from a hole, like the car's got to be able to hit it. So that was about all we changed. That was really all we changed. Was a hub height and some bump steer. And from qualifying, like I ran the whole same car pretty much seating through qualifying, like just got my diffs right in seating practice, and then ran the car pretty much all through qualifying like it was in seating, and then just made those small changes for the main just to give us a little bit more of an edge going into the main event.
But man, like I said, bro, you did an amazing job, man, and congratulations to you. All that hard work, paid off. All that getting fussed at when you was younger, paid off. So hey, it was well worth it, and hey, you came out with a win and swept both classes. So like I said, awesome job. What tires did you end up running in your buggy main?
Ended up running green reflex for for both truggy and the buggy mains. There's definitely some talk of different tires. Ryan went out and ran blue dirt bike, so he was kind of a wild card on the tires. But we just went with the standard DNC tire. Like that tire's won DNC a lot. Like it is probably the most winningest tire at that event, and that's what we went out on. We knew it was going to work and just trusted it. So
just trusted it. Yeah. But shoot, man. So Sean, what was your when you saw that he was, let's see, 5 minutes away? What was Pop's feeling inside?
5 minutes, the last 5 minutes of the buggy main. Well, number one, I pitted him at 9:36. He was in the pit or left pits at 9:36 left on the clock. So I knew right then and there.
Yeah. Go ahead.
I knew right then and there he had to go one extra lap automatically, and then if he made the loop, he'd have to go 2. So we'd been, pitting at 13 laps. Some guys pit at time. This particular race, I decided I was going with 13 laps, and I was just going to stick with it. And if I had to do a splash at the end because of speed, then I had to do it. But we didn't have to, so that was good. We had enough mileage. We knew we had enough mileage, so that went well. But I mean, if I had it all to do over again, I would probably run them, like a 13, 14 lap, and then go back to a 13 and then go a 14, kind of split them up throughout the run. And then he'd probably have to run 14 at the end instead of, I think he ran 15 laps at the end. And he was able to make that. I mean, he had 16 laps in the tank. So we did pull fuel after that run, and he still had, 7.9 cc's or 7.5. And I think it took 7.3 cc's to do a lap. So, but like in the last 5 minutes, like, you know, he had a lot of close, you know, stuff with Knaus. And I was like, okay, he's got to get away from him. You know, if we're going to have to do a splash, he's got to get away. You know, yeah, I can probably do one of the fastest pit stops because I don't need to fuel it. So maybe it'd be, you know, I was averaging 4.3. I think I had a 4.1, you know, pit lap. So, you know, I knew, you know, I could get him out fairly fast. If he had a 6-second gap, we could do it, but that's going to put a lot of pressure on him at the end. So it's best not to, but yeah, if I had to do it all over again, I probably would stretch him a lap after the first lap. And I knew he had 25 left after the first pit stop. Yeah, I should have went 14 on the next lap, or, you know, 14 from there on out. So, but just give him one extra. So yeah, that would have changed the whole dynamic, but then it wouldn't have been exciting to watch. You wouldn't have had Scotty, you know, and Tyler, you know, creating all of this anxiety, this whole spectator anxiety over the race. So yeah,
man. But shoot, like I said, man, it was an awesome race, and y'all did an amazing job, man. And that hard work again goes back to what we was talking about earlier, just, you know, being comfortable in uncomfortable situations. And Seth, you did it. And man, congratulations. And it's gonna be many more wins like this coming in the future. And hey man, y'all just a big inspiration, especially to those father and sons teams that you know, just program built up. And yeah, man. So but yeah, like I say, man, I ain't gonna keep y'all long. And I just again, I totally appreciate y'all taking time out just to come on the show and just talk about the experience, and like I said, give us some advice and drop some knowledge on us on how to be better racers and how to be a positive team, far as like if you're working with somebody, or if I'm mentor a young person, how to be, you know, just let them do them. But then again, you have to be strong enough to say, hey, this is how you gonna do stuff, this is how we gonna do it. And then again, like you said, show the evidence of them getting better about it. You like timing them like you did, Seth, in those corners and stuff like that, when you cut the track off and showing them that you actually getting faster doing it this way. And so again, y'all, I appreciate y'all, man, and I'm gonna give y'all a big old applause again for being the champs. The champs are here. The champs are here. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And man, I appreciate it. Like I said, I ain't gonna keep y'all long. And again, awesome team, man, and just still keep going. And I know in the past y'all got a lot of flack about doing different stuff that y'all felt was the best for your race program, and just stick to it, especially if y'all aren't doing nothing to hurt or anything ill to take money from somebody or whatever the situation it is. Y'all doing it in the right mind frame to the best benefit y'all, and it's going to help other people too. On top of that, keep doing what you're doing. So again, man, appreciate it. And hey, if y'all know Miss Maddie Long, I'm trying to get her on the show because she a little nervous of speaking. Like I told her, I said, hey, this ain't like the No Name RC podcast or like the real. This is RC Lounge. You kick back and you lay back and just cool. Like, you know, we had technical difficulties at first, but we worked everything out and see how great and how smooth the podcast went, you know. So Seth, be yourself. Ain't nobody trying to make you be or say what you want. You say what you want to say, and we had an awesome podcast tonight. So again, y'all, I ain't gonna keep y'all long, but I just want to tell y'all I totally appreciate the time you gave me, and hopefully we can do this again. And what's the next race y'all gonna be at? What's coming up? What's coming up for y'all?
It'll be P&B next weekend, so it'll be second range for last
in
few
Tennessee.
days.
Yeah,
Yep.
White Pines, Tennessee. Yeah, definitely. I'm definitely familiar with it. But yeah, this just a snowball effect. That success gonna roll on to P&B. You're gonna get a run again. God willing, you may get that win again, but definitely you're gonna be in the mix for sure. So yeah.
With as many guys who are as fast as they are now, there's so many guys that are fast.
Right.
I want to keep the momentum going, but man, you got to be realistic. There's a lot of fast dudes, so we'll take it and keep going with it. But yeah,
it's gonna be y'all gonna be in the mix.
Yeah,
y'all gonna be in the mix. Just because
I'll be happy if we're there. You know, if we're competitive and we got a shot, but the cards, yeah,
y'all gonna be in the mix for sure. And but yeah, like I said, y'all keep doing what y'all doing, man, and keep being a positive light, especially up in Minnesota at y'all track, and continue to work with the youngsters coming up and the older guys like me and your dad, and keep working with those guys, and success gonna come. Y'all gonna be good for sure. But yeah, y'all, like I say, I appreciate it, man. This EKJ 24,000, and we totally appreciate y'all coming on the RC Lounge podcast. And again, hopefully we can plan out some time, and maybe later on in this year, maybe about heading up to, I guess, AMS time again in November. Maybe we can sit down again and do something.
Yeah.
And definitely, if I'm around at the track, that y'all there, I'm gonna definitely come.
Heck yeah, come
introduce
on
myself to you. Yeah, and we gonna talk again. You definitely gonna see me again at the track. So because I be at all the race time events and pretty much all those events, and so my next big thing is going out to the West Coast and get some of them races out there in California too. So that's my plan. So, but appreciate it, y'all. Appreciate it.
Cool.
And that's it.
Thank you for having us.
Oh yeah. Y'all have a good, awesome work week coming up. Have a good week, and y'all be safe. Appreciate you.
All right.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Yeah.